who you are just as you are is not only okay, but is extremely important and valuable to the world around you. So that was the beginning of the transition, the beginning of the awakening for me. And it scared me because, as life would have it, I got home, and no sooner had I got home, everyone and their uncle was talking about the people in their lives that they thought or knew or suspect was gay or in a same-sex relationship, in the homosexual lifestyle. There was nowhere that I could go to escape the conversation. And that same pit feeling in the pit of my stomach that I experienced at 4 years old, at 6 years old, when I was hearing my cousins and my siblings and my relatives talking about the gay, lesbian people, or people that were just really close with people of the same sex, that it just looked too close for comfort, so they would imply it. That same pit would hit me again. I come from an overseas trip fully immersed in the charismatic Christian church experience. And everywhere I go, I am hearing the reinforced narrative that there's something wrong with me. This is a problem. So whatever revelation I thought I had about me spending my life with someone, it's either a delusion or it's going to cost me way more than I thought it was going to. So I knew that a reckoning point was coming. I didn't know when, but I knew a reckoning point was coming. So we talk about the stages of grief and the way that we process grief, and everybody processes grief in different ways. You know, there's the denial, then there's the bargaining, the anger, the sadness, the hopelessness, the despair, then the acceptance. And when it came to me coming out, those were the stages that I went through. I want to prepare you. Once you make this move, even if you have, now some of you have the beautiful, fortunate, awesome, amazing honor of having a family unit and having a community that is perfectly accepting of who you are, and they're just waiting for you to tell them, and they welcome you and will welcome your partners with open arms. For most of us, that is not our truth. So for those of you getting ready to embark on this journey of stepping into this level of truth for yourself, just want to give you a couple of heads up to let you know, one, you're not doing anything wrong. This is a part of the process. I had to be told that when I was in the throes of it, and I'm telling it to you. In the event that this video is the only thing you have, the only North Star that you've got to hold on to as you're making your way into this next phase of your life, I want you to know you're not doing anything wrong, but these are some of the things that you can expect. These are some of the responses that you can expect, whether you come from a religious background or you don't. I had a friend who was a friend, quote unquote, yeah? It's amazing how you find who your friends really are when things like this come forth, that was convinced that I was laying down my calling, that the devil was tripping me up, that this thing, I told her too, I told her like I told you, I knew since I was 4 that this was some kind of spirit, a perversion that had come against me, that I've been dealing with since I was 4, and I just got tired of dealing with it, so I was more or less forfeiting what God had called me to do and giving up everything that I worked for. That was a beautiful conversation. That was wonderful. That just made me so, that encouraged me so much. And all I could do was look at her and blink and let her talk. It was a very, very, very long conversation, a few hours worth. And I left, and I haven't spoken to this particular friend since. And then my parents responded in a very interesting way as well. You have to understand, both my parents are very, very, very much involved in the conservative Christian religion. Nothing wrong with it. There are parts of it that are beautiful that I still love till today. But their stand with it was, you're our son, and we will always love you, but we won't stand with this. And I am almost certain that when I meet a man, which will be, that they won't be a part of the wedding. They won't be there to witness it. And my mom had some pretty strong words to say about it that completely rocked my world. To hear my mom, the woman that I talked about everything with, who incidentally knew years ago that this was coming. I had an aunt that I hadn't talked to in a long time. 2 years before I came out, called my mom, because she's super close with her, called her and said, just so you know, your son's getting ready to come out. So I just want to prepare you for that. 2 years before I did. So she was prepared. But even with that, she made it very clear that I was making a mistake and that I was opening myself up to a whole bunch of things that I was going to regret later. And that devastated me. And I had to establish some very clear boundaries around this person that I love so much, because that's what you're going to have to do. When you make this decision, which is a very courageous and strong and challenging and hard decision that you're going to make, you're making this for yourself, you're doing this for your freedom. For your freedom. You're not choosing, for the first time in your life, I'm inviting you to not choose everybody else. I'm inviting you to choose yourself and to choose freedom. When you do, there is going to be a newfound mandate on you to establish clear boundaries around people that you might not have had to establish boundaries around. I had to do that with my own mother. And the boundaries were, I know where you stand. You know where I stand. We are never to have this conversation again. And if we do, I will pick myself up and I will remove myself from the situation entirely. She has honored that. She has never brought the conversation up again, and our relationship is amazing. But it wasn't the response that I would have wanted from her.